Bitcoin could be getting ready to explode. Something I've been talking about for months is this massive negative supply shock that could take place to Bitcoin coming in Q4 this year. And what is a negative supply shock? Well, it comes down to supply and demand. And right now, the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges has been decreasing significantly in the last 3 months. In fact, the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges is less than where we were at before the Bitcoin bull run started back in January. This means as demand comes back into the space and retail investors start FOMOing in, it's going to drive the price through the roof for Bitcoin. Now, sadly, no one has listened to my BlackRock theories with all these IPOs that they're invested into for Bitcoin miners and bullish exchanges that are coming out later this year. And pretty much I discussed how all these Bitcoin mining companies and exchanges that are IPOing on the New York Stock Exchange have been accumulating Bitcoin on the back end. Here's a Bitcoin miner that just IPO'd on the New York Stock Exchange and now ordered 10,000 Bitcoin miners right after their listing. We've also been tracking large institutional investors buying on OTC exchanges. This picture right here indicates that the last 15 days, there has only been outflows of Bitcoins from exchanges, meaning a large investor on the back end was buying Bitcoin. Don't believe me? Well, look right behind me. MicroStrategy came out the day after we saw this and said they added another 5,050 Bitcoin to their balance sheet. They now hold over 5.1 billion in Bitcoin. Next, we have over 500,000 registrations in 1 week with El Salvador's new wallet. We have more Bitcoin ETF applications dropping. We have Fidelity fighting the SEC and literally pushing them to launch one. Because right now, the United States is missing out on tons of money just because they're letting Canada and Europe and other nations drop ETFs first. So great job to Daddy Gensler, so to speak, as he is literally holding back the United States from making millions, hundreds of millions off ETFs. Now, on top of that, the inflation data came out this month. The CPI came in at 5.3%. Core inflation minus food and energy up at 4%, which is actually a sliver down from where we were last month, but we are still in a terrible position. Food, clothing, electricity, shelter, transport, everything is up drastically. And pretty much all you need to know is if you're not getting a 10% raise this year at your job, you are literally losing money. The value of the dollar is literally at an all-time low. Even gold's down 8% this year. So if you're not learning about crypto yet and the new medium of exchange, be sure to follow my page so you stop missing out, because you will get left behind. So let's talk about the longevity of Bitcoin. Cathie Wood just came out and said that it could reach over $500,000 in 5 years. And that number isn't a stretch at all. All that matters is supply and demand for Bitcoin. You have institutional investors, you have countries now adopting Bitcoin, the Ukraine being the next country. This all means there's gonna be less and less and less supply for Bitcoin. So while yes, there will be a bear market one day, stop waiting on the sidelines because you are losing this game. Read this book if you want to find out what happens when you don't change within